Welcome to AI BioSpark. In this section, we are going to talk about something that many professionals underestimate: content and visibility. Because on LinkedIn, it's not enough to exist. You have to be seen. And being seen isn't about being loud or posting every day. It's about being present in a thoughtful and consistent way. That's what transforms your profile from static to powerful. And visibility is what keeps you relevant in a constantly moving professional ecosystem. So, before we get into the details of part B, I just want to give you a quick recap of part A that we discussed previously, which was on profile optimization. What we spoke about in our previous video is we talked about how to structure your headline clearly around your domain, how to write an about section which actually positions you strategically, and how to present your skills and experience in a way that strengthens your signal. If you haven't watched that yet, I have linked it in the description below. I'll definitely recommend checking it out because everything we are discussing here builds on having the strong foundation in place. So I would recommend watching part A first and then jumping into this video, which is part B on content and visibility. Now that you have built the foundation of your profile, we will talk about how to actually activate your presence on LinkedIn. Because having a strong profile is step one, but showing up is step two. So what does participation actually looks like? I usually think it about in three simple ways. First one is posting, second is commenting, and third is engaging with the ecosystem, which includes companies and communities in your field. So let's first get into the posting section of our part B. Let's start with posting. Posting is powerful because it reveals how you think. When you write a post, you're not just sharing information. You're showing your reasoning. Now, let me give you an example of this one-off the connection that I have in my LinkedIn profile, and I'm always very keen to read his post. He posts every week, every other week probably, of one of the bioinformatic topics that he has learned over the week. One of his posts was about maybe RPKM versus TPM in RNA sequence normalization. Now his post has very easy flow that you can understand, which starts with the definition, some examples, his own insights, and you often learn a lot from his post. Now I remember there was a time where one of his posts has received so many comments and discussion around it, which was very informative. And that's what posting does. And this is not like all of his posts have such kind of comments or such kind of discussions, but he is very consistent. It builds intellectual association. And that is why today I was able to link his name in this specific bioinformatic domain, because I have been seeing his name on this post several times, and that's visibility. Not because all of his posts were viral, but because he had consistently shared something which was useful and engaged in meaningful conversation around it. So posting is very powerful skill on LinkedIn. So let me show you an example from my own field. This is my post where I talked about sustainability in oil and gas, but from microbial perspective. So here I discussed about how we can manage microbial growth and monitor it with molecular biology techniques like qPCR, sequencing, next generation sequencing, etc., which can help in applying chemistry more precisely. And that's what posting does. It's just, in this case, I haven't just shared the information. I tried to show a connection between microbiology, operations, oil and gas, and sustainability. Thus, what I want to say in the end is, via posting, it helps you to reveal your perspective and helps you in visibility in your specific domain. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Is my post good enough? What if this sounds basic? What will people think? And honestly, Most people are not analyzing your post the way you think they are. They are just scrolling. If your post helps even one person understand something better, it's worth sharing. And it really doesn't have to be complicated. If you learned something this week, share it. One idea, one takeaway, maybe one thoughtful question, and that's enough. Okay. So after posting, let's move to the second section, which is commenting. I genuinely believe commenting is one of the most underrated ways to build visibility on LinkedIn, because commenting keeps you inside conversation that's already happening. When someone posts about a paper, a product, a technical method, or even an industry shift, and you contribute thoughtfully, you're not interrupting the space, you're adding to it. But what I would recommend is commenting such as something like great post. That doesn't build visibility. Instead, add something meaningful. Let me give you an example. Let's say if someone shares a paper on new sequencing workflow, you can say something like, interesting approach. I'm curious how this impacts the reproducibility across different samples, right? So that shows your contribution or your insights to what they have shared. Let me give you another example. If someone talks about fermentation scale-up challenges, which many people do in their post, you could add something like, oh, we have seen something similar bottlenecks when moving from lab scale to pilot, especially around contamination control. Did you observe that as well? So what that kind of comment shows applied understanding. You're not repeating what they have said, you're extending the conversation. Another powerful strategy which I can share is adding context from your own experience. Even one line like, oh, in our system, we have observed or we have noticed this. So that signals your credibility in that domain, your knowledge in that domain, your experience in that domain. And sometimes asking one thoughtful question is enough, because questions invite engagement. Engagement builds conversation, and of course, conversation builds visibility. The more consistently you contribute value in comment section, the more your name starts appearing in relevant discussion. People begin to recognize you, not because you're self-promoting, but because you're intellectually present. And that's powerful. Commenting is subtle visibility. It's low effort compared to posting. Posting might take several days, but over time it compounds. So there's another recommendation that I could give. If there is any company that you are genuinely interested in, don't just follow them silently, but when they post about a new product, a paper, or even a hiring update, engage, add perspective, ask something intelligent, not as an applicant, but as someone in the field. That subtle shift changes how you are perceived. So that's the power of commenting, which does not require a lot of efforts, but definitely in the long run, it helps to highlight your name with that specific domain. Okay. There's one more thing that I have learned in my journey is how to handle certificates differently. Now, I have seen many people upload a certificate and simply write like, oh, I have completed this course, and that's fine. But I believe that with such update, if you can showcase your journey, that is more useful for a person or for a viewer to understand what you have learned. Now, let me share one of my personal experience. When I was doing this bootcamp in machine learning and AI from MIT, I didn't just post the certificate. I tried using those skills and sharing some assignments that I had built during my bootcamp. I tried to share some concepts that I had learned during my journey there. And one of the things that I tried doing is recently I had attended this conference which was on AI and machine learning in oil and gas sector. And I saw that this could be an opportunity again where I could connect back my bootcamp learning which I had completed and try to connect that with what I have learned in the conference. So what it does is I tried reinforcing my interest in this space. I highlighted how my learning, my skill, and my curiosity are aligned. And along with the conference update, I tried sharing key takeaways and connecting to the courses that I had completed in that boot camp. Now that I believe shows engagement, it shows growth, it shows a direction. So you're just not collecting certificates, but you're building a narrative there. So that would be my other recommendation when you're trying to share some kind of certifications, some kind of courses that you have done, some kind of skills that you have learned. Try to build around those skills. Try to share more about your journey. So after talking about posting, commenting, about certificates, this brings me to something bigger. Engaging is a part of an ecosystem, right? Now, what I want to say after we have discussed all those things is LinkedIn isn't just individuals posting updates. It's for researchers, it's for companies, startups, operators, scientists, engineers, all interacting in one shared professional space. So when you participate thoughtfully through your posts, through your comments, through the updates that you have, you're not just building visibility. You're positioning yourself within that ecosystem. You're not just consuming content, but you're contributing to it. And over time, that changes how people perceive you. You stop being just a profile, but become part of a conversation. And visibility doesn't have to live only on LinkedIn. Yes, there are other platforms, and I tried engaging with other platforms as well. For example, I enjoy writing. I use platforms like Medium. I use GitHub to share my codes, or build a simple website where you talk about yourself or you talk about some of the ideas that you have. When you are thinking exist in multiple places like Medium or GitHub or LinkedIn, your professional presence becomes stronger. You're not dependent on one platform. You're building intellectual surface area. The more places your ideas exist, the more discoverable you are. Now, you don't need to post every day. You just need a rhythm. One thoughtful post per week or maybe 2 weeks. A few meaningful comments, but stay consistent. And this matters whether you're actively job searching or not, because consistency builds professional capital over time. The people who show up consistently are the ones who stay top of mind. So consistency is a key to excel in your content visibility, to show your presence in this platform. So as we are to the end of this video, I want to again say that visibility isn't about being loud. It's about being present, being consistent. When your name shows up repeatedly in thoughtful ways, people begin associating you with your field. And that's when your profile starts working harder for you. Not because you forced attention, but because you earned familiarity. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps the channel. And if you have any questions or want to discuss something specific, drop in the comment below. I'd be more than happy to continue the conversation. Thank you all. See you in the next video. Bye.